What's going on, everybody? Respawn Gentleman here. So Tiny Tina's Wonderlands is coming out very soon, and I wanted to break down what I believe are the best builds that you can have in the game per class. So let's get right to it. So I do want to mention that this is the Wonderlands skill calculator, which I'll have a link for it down in the description below in case you're curious and you want to test out your own builds. But today what we're going to cover is the Brr-Zerker. Now I'm going to cover a solo class build as well as a multi-class build, so you can kind of see what the best things are for that. So one of the first things on here is that you have your feat. In this one for Brr-Zerker, they have a Rage of the Ancients, which it says using an action skill causes the Fate Maker to become enraged, adding bonus frost damage to their attacks. An enraged duration will not deplete while an action skill is active and ends if the Fate Maker enters Save Your Soul. Activate an action skill when already enraged and stores a portion of the enraged timer. So basically it's kind of like a barbarian in D&D. You just want to get mad all the time. So the two action skills you have to choose from in here are Dreadwind, which basically you take your weapon, your melee weapon, and you just spin around in a circle a whole bunch of times, hitting all the enemies. So that's what that one is. Feral Surge, which is actually my choice for this. You basically leap towards your enemies, and as soon as you land, you deal a whole bunch of frost damage. And if you kill them with that frost damage, then you reset the Feral Surge and you can do it again. So this build is going to be based off of using Feral Surge quite often and just destroying enemies with frost damage. So the first thing you want for a solo Brr-Zerker build is you want to max out your frost damage. So Ancestral Frost is super important to max out. Then you want to increase Savagery because you want your melee damage and your rage duration increased because you're going to be angry all the time. You're going to be up close and personal. You're going to want to do that. You also want to max out Unyielding because since you're going to be up close to all your enemies and tanking a lot of damage, you're going to want to regain that health back. And while you're enraged, which you should be almost all the time with this build, you're going to be getting double the amount of health back. So this is super important to have. The next one you want to max out is Icebreaker. Basically, you get more damage dealt to enemies that are slowed and also that are close to being frozen, which you're going to have happen because you're going to be right up there doing a lot of frost damage, which is going to cause those effects to happen. So you'll be dealing out even more damage the more you hit people. Now, this next one is super important. The Old Ways. Definitely max this one out because you deal bonus damage and you get damage reduction the closer you are to your enemy. Since you're going to be using your melee weapon most of the time with this build, this is absolutely insane. Next, you're going to want to max out Cold Snap because this is going to make you move a lot faster and it's going to make you use your frost and status effect a lot more often. So your benefits from Icebreaker are going to happen more quickly and things like that. This is going to be massive. And again, while you're enraged, this is doubled. So it's going to be happening even more often. Then you want to max out Blood Frenzy. So this one's super important. It's a kill skill that whenever you kill an enemy, you get some of your enraged timer back as well as maximum health. So you'll be healing yourself every time you kill an enemy and you'll be getting angrier. Then you also want to max out Ancient Fury so you can have the most health you can possibly get because again, you're going to be up close and personal and you're going to be taking a lot of damage. But then you're also going to be increasing your splash damage, which is great because you have Feral Surge, which does an AoE attack. So that should apply with that while you're jumping around and doing all this stuff, just dealing out tons of damage. You definitely want to get Relentless Rage because if you ever happen to go into Save Your Soul, every time you damage an enemy, it'll increase the timer. And then if you kill an enemy, then you automatically become enraged. So this is super important to have. Next is Blast Chill. Now this one is super crazy because every time you deal melee damage to an enemy, you might possibly release a Frost Nova, which is going to be a big AoE attack that, deals frost damage to nearby enemies. And it's already combined with, the Ancestral Frost plus all the other movement things and things getting you close to enemies. This is going to be, you're going to be setting off Frost Novas like crazy. The next one you want to max out is Iron Squall. So the reason for this is your fire rate's increased, which, that's always good to have, being able to shoot your guns faster. But the main thing for this one is your melee attack speed is increased. So you'll be able to attack with your melee weapon even faster. And if you do it while you're enraged, you'll attack double whatever that number happens to be whenever the game releases. So it's absolutely insane. For the capstone, you definitely want this one. It's Blood of the Fallen. It's a kill skill that reduces your action skill cooldown every time you kill an enemy. If you already have one active, like if you say you have Dreadwind, then every time you kill an enemy, its duration is extended instead. So this, along with everything else you've got, you're going to be just destroying enemies left and right, jumping on them with Feral Surge. It's crazy. Let's jump over to the hero stats. So right here are the hero stats, which you upgrade these with your hero points, and you should have 50 of them by the time you reach level 40, which is the current level cap in the game. And the way you want to set this up is I chose the nerd backstory, and I maxed out wisdom to give you plus 48% status effect damage, which is going to be huge with the frost efficiency and doing all of the frost damage that you're going to be doing. You're going to want to be freezing and slowing enemies like crazy. And so this is going to be super important to have. And then I increased Constitution to 25 so you can have even more health. And then I increased Attunement to 25 so you can have plus 15% action skilled on cool rate. So basically with this setup, you're going to be like a frozen jumping frog of death, just landing on your enemies, freezing them, possibly even killing them in one jump, and then just jumping again and smashing them with your big old melee weapon, whatever it happens to be that you're using. It's absolutely insane. So for the multi-class option, if you're going to be maining as a Brr-Zerker, then the absolute best class to tie that up with is the Stabbomancer. For the action skills, I think this one complements Dreadwind so much more. And now let's get into all of the stats that you can do. So this particular build is not going to be based on frost damage or anything like that. This is going to be just basically melee crazy. So you're going to go ahead and max out Savagery. To get that melee bonus, you're going to want to max out Unyielding so you get that health regeneration we talked about before. You're going to want to max out the Old Ways because you'll be getting that bonus damage the closer you are to enemies because you're going to be meleeing like crazy. Then you're going to want to max out your Blood Frenzy because again, that's going to just increase your health and enrage every time you get a kill. You're going to want to increase your Ancient Fury because again, you're going to be right up close to enemies, so you need as much health as you can get. You want the Relentless Rage because again, you want to stave off Save Your Soul, but also become enraged whenever you get out of it. Then you want to max out Iron Squall to get that melee attack speed bonus, and then you also want to get Blood of the Fallen to make sure you can use Dreadwind even more often. So now let's jump over to the Stabbomancer skills and show you which ones you want to do for that one. So for this one, you definitely want to increase Arsenal, mainly for the melee damage increase, and this one actually has numbers, so let's get you a 15% increase when you max it out. Next, you want to do Haste, because this one, when you max it out, it gives you melee attack speed plus 12% and movement speed plus 12%. So you're going to be attacking even faster, especially coupled with Iron Squall. You're going to be hitting things super quickly. Next, you want to max out Follow Up, because every time you deal gun damage to an enemy, your next melee attack does plus 6% increased damage. And this is something that can stack. So you can stack it up to 10 times. So you can get plus 60% increased damage on your next melee attack, which you're going to be meleeing all the time. And in between those, you're going to be shooting and you're just going to be destroying enemies with this. And then for the last skill, you want Shadow Step, because this one, it says it's a kill skill that your next melee attack is guaranteed a critical hit for 6 seconds. So not only are you going to be getting critical hits, you're going to be doing massive damage with your melee, and it's just going to be absolutely insane. So for the hero stats on this one, I went with the no backstory, so everything's at 10, and then I increased strength to 15 and dexterity 15 to give you more critical hits since you're going to be wanting that more often. I also maxed out Constitution and Attunement because you're going to want to be using your action skill as much as possible, and you want to have as much health as possible. I left Wisdom and Intelligence alone because this particular build, you're not going to really be casting spells, and you're not necessarily going to be causing a ton of status effects. It's mainly about, I'm going to smash you, is what this build is about. The one thing I forgot to mention is that you also get the feat when you multi-class of the other class. So you also gain Dirty Fighting, which increases your critical hit chance by 30%. So you'll be doing more critical hits and just wailing on enemies. It's going to be super fun to do this build. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more Wonderlands content, make sure to like and subscribe. You can also check out some of my other videos like the one YouTube recommends right over there. And if you want to help support this channel, you can check out the support links in the description below. Thanks for watching.